Hello everybody, this is Osborne. Over the weekend I rode a gravel ride to the Osage Passage put on by Tulsa Tough. Um, the night before, it was threatening rain and I said that if it was raining I wasn't going to ride. But when I showed up for the ride it was raining, um, and I had a choice of sitting in my car. As I sit in the car and thought about it, I said, well, I could go back home. But I saw all the contestants in the fire station waiting to take off. So I decided to join them and visited with a bunch of friends. Um, it was exciting to see all the people that turned out, and they were all anticipating a great ride. So I decided to, I'll go ahead and ride this. Um, the conditions were not ideal. Um, the ride started on the Zinc Ranch and right outside of Tulsa, and there's no gravel on the ranch. So lots of climbs, and they have a lot of muddy hills. In fact, the first 10 miles was pretty much a mud fest. Um, and I've made it a habit of on these gravel rides is I ride typically a Walmart bike off the shelf. And today I was riding a blue female Swin. Uh, it was a hybrid, and it weighs about 40 pounds. Normally, that's not that big of a deal, but as I rode this course, as we were riding through 3-inch deep mud, and I hit a section. There was several sections that you actually had to walk your bike up, and there was so much mud built up on the wheels and on the brakes that at one point the wheels stopped turning, and some people were picking their bikes up and throwing them over their shoulders and just walking up the hill. So, me being the guy that I am, I grabbed my bike, and that 40-pound bike had about 20 pounds of mud on it. And oh my God, there was no carrying this bike up the hill. So I had to put the bike down, dig out the dirt from around the brakes and around the wheels that would allow the wheels to roll again, and I could make it another 10 feet, and then I had to dig them out again. So needless to say, the first 10 miles of this bike ride took 1 hour and 45 minutes. It was quite a challenge. Uh, Going up the hill, my shoes are covered in mud. I have mud everywhere. I had gloves on. I didn't want to touch my GPS or my camera or my phone or anything just because I had so much mud on it. I'm also one that, you know, I like to use what I have. So some friends had suggested that I buy a head unit that had a built-in GPS where I could just download the course map and always have the course on my bike and not have to worry about my phone. But that's not me. I got a phone. I'm gonna use my phone. Okay, so that was settled. Um, I get up the course. Um, it was quite a challenge. We got to the top of the hill. We dug all the mud. When I say we, me and the other riders dug all the mud out of our spokes. There was a young lady handing out sticks to clear your wheels. You had to clean all the mud off your wheels, get it from between your brakes and the housing of your bike. It was it was nothing. I had never experienced anything quite like that. But the course was challenging. But it's not about how challenging the course is. It's about, are you willing to rise to the occasion of the challenge at that moment? And I said, yeah. I said, I didn't let the mud bother me because everybody else was in the mud. Everybody was in this, so complaining about it or worrying about it would only make it for a longer day. So as I exited the ranch, I saw the executive director of Tulsa Tough, Malcolm, who had been in an accident earlier in the week, was there greeting us as we exited the ranch. and I politely whipped up on my big swing and dropped the kickstand and pronounced myself as being finished with the first section. And we got a big kick out of that. As I headed off, he asked me which route was I riding. I said the 65-mile route. And one thing that stuck with me, he said, yeah, you really torturing yourself today and make it in before dark. And I thought that was pretty interesting since it was only about 11 o'clock in the morning, and I only got like 55 miles to go. I'm thinking that, this is a piece of cake. So I took off with that. I hooked up with some friends. They were riding a 45, and we got to the 45-mile turnoff rest water stop, and they suggested that I ride with them. And I'm like, man, I gotta get this 65 in. There was nobody else in the group riding 65 at that point. So I split off from them, and now they had the GPS on their head units. I did not. And I hadn't downloaded the route to my phone. So I'm riding down, expecting to go another 10 miles down this road and look for a turnaround point or a turnoff point. I did not find one. So I stopped at, I found a little store, ended up in Harmony. I stopped at I think it was Sonic, and I tried to download the maps from there. Didn't quite work. So I decided to just do maps and take me back to the ranch, to the start. I didn't care if it was on gravel or on the roads. At this point, I was just ready to be done. So I knew how to get back on Highway 20, but Highway 20 was extremely busy, and I didn't want to ride down a really busy section of road when I didn't have to. So I got Google Maps to ride me another route off of 20 on a much slower, less traffic road, which I felt more comfortable riding. And I'm riding out here, and it's a beautiful day. The rain has stopped, the skies have cleared, temperature's great. I'm on these beautiful roads, rolling hills, I seen bridges over lakes that I'd never been across, beautiful homes, just great experience on the bike. At one point, I noticed my bike was making a lot of noise. So I had actually washed my bike off in the lake after we left the ranch to try to get a lot of the mud off, but it still had some caked up mud. And that's fine until it dries. When the mud dried, there was, the brakes didn't work anymore, and it was really hard shifting. So I was, looking for maybe a car wash. Didn't see a car wash, but there was a puddle right on the side of the road. So I cleaned my bike in the puddle and got my brakes working again, and I'm heading on in. And my GPS told me to stay on this road for 9 miles. And I didn't happen to look at where I was the mileage wise. And I'm riding, and I'm waiting for the GPS to tell me when to turn. And I'm riding, and finally I said, I just pulled my phone out and I checked it, and my phone was completely dead. I don't know how long it had been dead, but with the GPS, with maps going and Strava, it completely drained my phone. So at this point, I am off course. I'm not lost. I'm simply off course, and I don't know how to get back on course. But I'm having a great ride, and I'm gonna get my 65 miles in. So eventually I stopped at I found a convenience store. I stopped, I asked them how to get to Zinc Ranch, and a guy drew me a map, that apparently I had passed the ranch, and I was about 13 miles from it at this point. So I rode another 8 miles. It began to get dark. And I remember what Malcolm said. He was hoping, he didn't want me riding in the dark. And I didn't want to ride in the dark. So I made my way to Highway 97, which runs directly into the Zinc Ranch. And I sit on the guardrail, I had my flashing light on my bike, and I started flagging down vehicles. I flagged down a truck, and I said, "Hey, dude, I'll give you $50 to take me to Zinc Ranch," which was like 5 to 7 miles up the road. And he said that wouldn't be necessary, so he took me up to the ranch. So he said, "Look, you want me to drop you off here?" I said, "No, man." I said, "Drive me up to the finish line." So he drove me up to the finish line. I pulled my bike out of the back of the truck, hopped on my bike, rode across the timing mat, and everybody cheered. So everybody was looking for me since I hadn't made it in by 6. I think I made it in at like 6:45. And I realized that they were trying to call me, and they knew my phone was dead. And so there was a lot of activity going on behind the scene. So while I was there, I was talking to some friends, and I told them what a wonderful day I had on the bike. You know, I found these great roads to ride on. I could incorporate them into my future rides. Beautiful lake crossings, beautiful homes and neighborhoods. It was really a spectacular day. And one of their other guys sitting there said, "Man, I can't believe this. I would be so pissed right now if I've been out there this long and I was lost and this and that." And I said, I was on my bike on a beautiful day. I said, first of all, being pissed wouldn't have got me back any faster. In fact, it would have probably made it a much worse day. But I was on my bike on a Saturday afternoon in October, beautiful weather, beautiful day, beautiful course. How could I lose that by being upset? So it was a great day on the bike. One thing I have, one big takeaway from this is that, you know, it's time to man up, come out from under the rock. I'm gonna buy me a new GPS for my head unit for my GPS. I'm gonna buy a new head unit for my bike where I can download the maps, the courses into my bike computer, and that way I'll never be off course. And I may not be the strongest or the fastest, but there's nobody mentally tougher than I am. So take away, get a GPS that I can download the maps to my head unit. And it's not about the course. The course is a course. It's about, are you gonna rise to the challenge to ride the course? Or are you just gonna turn around and go back home? So I encourage you to stretch yourself, to grow some, to ride your bike, to ride challenging courses. Challenge yourself. Don't ride the same thing over and over. You know, do something that's going to push you out of your comfort zone and see how much you grow. So this is Osborne. That was my Saturday at the Osage Passage. It was a long day, but it was a great day on the bike. It was a muddy day, but it was a great day on the bike. Any day that I can get to the finish line with my bike, on my bike, is a great day on the bike. Take care.